This is At Face Value.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Here we go again, episode 24, At Face Value. I'm Brian.
And I'm Lucas.
We're super excited to have you back again for another episode. Will was unable to join us this week. We're hoping that he'll be able to kick it back with us going forward. But it's just back to the OGs, just me and Lucas. So
Holding it down.
Yeah, so a lot of things to cover today. Bowl season's in full swing, dude. So I know the first game, Jackson State and we were just talking about it in SC State. It was kind of a big game where it started off Jackson State was favored, and then you said there was a bunch of opt-outs, right? And then so it kind of flipped to SC State, and then Jackson State ended up dominating. So
got that first bowl win, baby.
Yeah, but isn't that in that game, like, I think we talked about this before, not on the podcast, but I think we talked about it before. Like, isn't this like, because aren't they FCS schools?
Yeah, they always do one game for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not sure. Well, I know why. It's money, but other than that, I have no idea why they have that. But
Yeah, like, I get the concept behind it. It's like you're highlighting your
smaller schools.
well, your HBCUs,
Yeah.
because they're the ones that are doing this game. But it feels like every year it's Jackson State and SC State. So I think what they do is they just pick like the top two conference champions, and then they invite them, and then like you either, because don't they do this instead of going to the playoffs or something?
I don't know, because they definitely have like the FCS has a playoff for sure. Or do they? Yeah.
Well, it's 1-2A. Yeah, that's like
like North Dakota State and South Dakota State and all of them. They've been dominating that for years. And then I think what's it called? Sam Houston State before.
No, you're good.
Before they went into the FCS or FBS, they were pretty dominant as well. But no, that was one of the games, and then the other game, the Western Michigan game. Is that right? Was it Western Michigan?
Yeah, it was Western Michigan and South Alabama, the IS Forest Salute to Veterans Bowl. So, I mean, it's just, I know we've talked about this on the podcast, outside the podcast. Like, I mean, it's all just making money in different ways. All these companies putting the stuff out there. Good chance. I mean, like this game, it was 6-6 South Alabama against 6-6 Western Michigan. So,
dude, I know my South Alabama football, dude. Like,
oh yeah,
that's
dude.
why I got it right. For sure. I know my stuff when it comes to South Alabama. No, yeah, it's all just for money and corporations to get their advertising and everything out there. But dude, for the Pop-Tart Bowl, did you see the trophy? Have you seen the trophy for the Pop-Tart Bowl this year?
Is it like a new one?
Dude, it's in the shape of a football, and the football's an actual working toaster.
It's a toaster?
To toast your Pop-Tarts in. I'm not kidding, dude. It's freaking sick. Like, they were showing it off. Like, in the back, they, like, pushed down the freaking thing to put the Pop-Tarts in there, and then 2 Pop-Tarts popped out, and they were eating them. Like, the company, I guess, the CEO and the sponsor of the bowl or whatever. It's
That's
freaking
crazy.
awesome, dude. What a freaking awesome trophy.
That's awesome. Well, I wonder if they're going to do, like, the...
That would go great in A&M's cabinet.
Oh, yeah,
cabinet.
dude. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Put it right up there next to...
Nothing.
The other small bowl trophies.
Yeah. The 7 overtime win against LSU trophy.
Yeah. Dude, I still remember. I can't remember what recruit it was, but I remember they were like, they walked him through like their Hall of Honor or whatever, and he's like walking through, and he was like, "There's no trophies in here." Like,
yeah.
I think their last conference championship was like 2000 and. I don't even know. It was like 2008 or something like
it has
that.
To
like
be a minute, dude.
It was the Big 12 because obviously they've never sniffed the SEC championship. But
it's crazy, man. Yeah, but no, bowl season's about to kick off big time on Tuesday. Like that's when Tuesday is kind of when the bigger games start, and then obviously rolling into the weekend, and then the 4 big games in the weekend. I think there's 2 on Friday and 2 on Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah.
I kind of don't like that though. Like, I don't know.
I mean, how would you prefer it?
All 4 on freaking Saturday. Start 1 at 11, 1 at 2:30, 1 at 6:30, and have 1 at like 9 o'clock. It'd be great, dude. Just an all-day thing.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, I think they said on Saturday the first game starts at 11 Central, and then the Texas and Clemson game, I think, starts at 3.
It's at 3, yeah.
So then What are you gonna do at 6? Watch the Independence Bowl.
Well, let's
you know?
see. On Saturday, yep. So it's 11 and then 3, and then oh no, there's 3 on Saturday.
Oh, is it 3 on Saturday? Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, because Tennessee and Ohio State play at 7 on Saturday.
Okay, good. Never mind. Then.
Oh, so
Never mind.
yeah, so there's just the one
At
on
night
Friday.
On Friday, okay.
Yeah, it's the
That's
Indiana
good.
Notre Dame. Yeah, so that one's a little bit better. So
That's fine with me then. That's perfectly fine.
yeah, right after you watch the Staff DNA Cure Bowl and the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah,
So
sounds great.
great warm ups.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, I saw Florida's like they're up to 14-point favorite against Tulane right now in the Gasparilla Bowl because like Tulane's entire backfield and like starting
everybody's
receiver,
gone.
like they all transferred out. So
There were rumors for a while there that Tulane was going after LSU's defensive coordinator Blake Baker to be their head coach.
really,
And I mean, anytime you're a coordinator, like you want to take a head coaching job, like no
for
doubt.
sure, yeah,
But Blake Baker's also the highest paid assistant coach in the country.
really,
He makes
Wow.
$2.5 million a year.
Dang,
Yeah, dude. As a DC,
that is
good
pretty
gig.
wild. Heck yeah, you can't go wrong with that. And that turned out to be a great hire because I mean, if you look at not that like they fell off hard. I mean, Missouri, they still had kind of a schedule where you don't really know how good they were, but their defense did take a dip, and then obviously LSU's defense definitely stepped up a bit this year.
I mean, from where it was, like it just was unmanageable. Like for the last 2 years, like it was a bad defense, and this year it was manageable. It wasn't good by any means, but LSU also just didn't have the guys. Like I think I've said this multiple times.
yeah,
Now they're going hard in the portal to get dudes back, right? So starts with the recruiting class. DJ Pickett, like he's a day one starter. He's that kind of a guy. He's 6'3", long wingspan, super
Right.
fast. He's going to play day one. He's like a Derek Stingley.
okay,
Like Derek
yeah.
Stingley literally started in 2019 as a true freshman
Yeah,
when they won the national championship with Joe Burrow.
I think he's still doing a pretty good job with the Texans too.
Oh, dude,
so.
yeah, I saw his pick today to steal the game. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw that.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
like that's how he was at LSU, just a cover corner, great ball skills. Like supposedly Pickett's supposed to be like that too. And then they went and got Jakeem Jackson from Florida, who was a 5-star a few years ago. Started as a true freshman, was a freshman All SEC, and then this year he started the first 3 games at Florida and got hurt, and didn't play the rest of the season. But Corey Raymond, the defensive backs coach, the quote-unquote godfather of DBU, when LSU was kind of had that reputation, hasn't been that in the past few years. But,
I got you.
he's back at LSU, so he recruited that kid, and he came and followed. Yeah, I think LSU's defense should be better next year, too, with Blake Baker. So it's a good thing that they're trying to hold on to him because, again, when other teams call as a head coach for head coaches, like – that's where you get into coaching for, right? You don't get into coaching to be a quarterback's coach your entire career. I don't think.
No, I mean some people do, but
I mean, I guess, or they just can't take that next step. They're just not successful.
Well, dude, that's kind of like I mean, I know I'm flipping, different level, but like Brett Bielema, he was not Brett Bielema, Eric Bieniemy. He was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs forever.
Yeah.
And then I think like he could never get a job because they tried to say like he was only being successful because of Andy Reid. So he was never able to get that next big job. Well, then he gets a job with Washington, has a great, like Washington had the number 1 offense that year.
Yeah.
And then he still didn't get a job. So then he ends up at UCLA and he did that for a year this year. And then it was like a mutual separation or whatever. Like according to him, so like the initial thing was like, oh, UCLA fired him. But then like they came out and they're like, no, like this was like all the plan. Like he wants to like go back to the NFL. Like it was like a weird deal, but he's kind of been just like a long time, like just coordinator. Now I don't know like if I think he's a bad interview, honestly, because he had a few great years and he was always one of those guys you just waited to get that head coaching job. But
yeah, because you also have those things too where you just don't know what the coach is like. End game is, right? Like, do they want to be a college coach forever? Do they want to eventually make it to the NFL? Like, obviously Nick Saban tried it out, and it's not for everybody for sure.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Well, and one guy that I know that like it started off not great and then it got better was man, who's the offensive coordinator for LSU with Burrow?
Joe Brady.
Yeah, Joe
Joe
Brady.
Brady.
So he went to the Panthers
Oh, that was a
with Matt
yeah.
Rule, and it didn't go very well. But dude, now he's the offensive coordinator for the Bills,
Yeah, he's
and
doing great.
dude, he's doing a great job now. So, I
Yeah.
mean, so I think it's just one of those things. Like sometimes the first job doesn't work out, and the second one does. So, I mean, I could see him, if he wants it, I could see him being a head coach at some point.
I mean,
but,
dude, I'm pretty sure Joe Brady's still only like 38 years old. Like when he went to LSU, he was the Saint. Like he was just some guy in like the Saints like back office. Like literally, like he was like the errand guy, and he would just like sit in these meetings and have like supposedly he was like a nobody, and then LSU poached him from there and gave him that opportunity. Like
Huh.
he was a no name guy, and he always wanted to go back to the NFL. That was kind of the thing.
so that was like his end goal from the beginning. Like,
Yeah. He wasn't going to be at LSU for very long, and obviously, if you have an offense like that, like you take it whenever the opportunity arises.
oh yeah, for sure. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have. I mean, eventually, if you can show consistent success, you're gonna keep getting jobs. I mean, you see, examples of that all the time of even people that are failing upward. I mean, that
Yeah,
even though like they might necessarily have the best success, like they've networked themselves enough where they're just going to keep getting different chances to move up. So
absolutely, yeah. But no, it's Heisman, obviously, Travis Hunter. I think Vegas knew that for a while with his odds being so high. Like he was like plus 1,000 or plus 10,000 after a while too. And a lot of the times with the Heisman, you can kind of know who's going to win it because Vegas, I'm sure, goes and interviews some of these voters and
oh yeah,
tallies
absolutely,
it
yeah.
up and that kind of thing. Like they don't want to lose money, and so which. I mean, there's a debate with both ways, right? I mean, it was a tough decision between him and Genty, honestly. With Genty though, like he plays in the Mountain West. Like I feel like if Scatabo or if you give Scatabo the ball 30 times a game in the Mountain West, I kind of feel like the numbers would probably be similar.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I know the main argument. It wasn't necessarily like. I mean, I know a lot of people said Genty should have gotten it because of his yards, obviously, but there's also just a lot of arguments, especially after winning it, against Travis Hunter doing it. Because, like, for example, he won the Bolitnikov, for top receiver.
See, I
And
would agree with that.
and they show the stat. I think I said in the group chat, but the San Jose State receiver led. He was number one in the nation in every single receiver category. But it was almost like because Hunter won the receiver of the year and also the defensive back of the year.
Did he win the?
Yeah, he won both of them. And so, but I feel like that was all kind of like it was playing into like we gotta make sure like it makes sense for him to be the Heisman winner.
Dang, I didn't know he won the Bolitnikov and the.
Because he only had like 4 interceptions this year. Like I think again it kind of came down to it was like he was the unicorn. Like, when's the last time we've had a player that's been able to play at a high level on both sides of the ball?
Yeah.
And so it was almost like he did it just because.
No, I thought
Yeah.
I thought the corner from Texas won the Thorpe.
So if it wasn't Thorpe, he won 2 different awards. I
think he won the Player of the Year, like the Joe Namath Player of the Year. It's probably the quarterback. I don't know.
maybe that's what it was, but
I'm pretty sure the Thorpe was the Barron kid.
yeah, you're right. But he won.
Yeah, Barron won the Thorpe, the best corner.
Yeah. But I thought
Which that's what it should be. Him or the kid from Notre Dame
Oh yeah, for sure.
should have been the winner for sure. Not Hunter.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the other one that he won though, because I do know that he won 2. I thought he won like a defensive award, but maybe it was like more like an overall or
Yeah.
whatever it was. So
And I mean, what he did there was great and everything, but
yeah, so he won the Bednarik Award, which is the top defensive player in college football.
yeah, and that's
So Barron won the Thor was top defensive back, but then he won top defensive player.
But I just don't see how you can win the Thorpe, be the best defensive back but the guy who won the best overall defensive player didn't even win the best defensive back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does that work out?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and that's where, and you almost wonder. I mean, I don't know.
A lot of these things, though, it's a popularity contest.
Well, that's where I was trying to. That's where I was kind of getting to. Is like, is it more of a popularity to where that's what that's what people are just looking at. It's like, again, the unicorn concept where it's like, man, he's just a top player, and we just need to get this guy in because we're not going to see another player like this for a long time.
I just wonder how many of these athletes, like, what if you put like Jamar Chase? You know what I mean? What if you put him at corner? You know what I mean? And just let him go. Like Derek Stingley went back to Stingley. That dude was a monster in high school as a receiver. He was unbelievable as a wideout. And he was returning punts, returning kicks, and doing all that stuff. You put him on the other side of the ball, like, it could have been possible as well. But I feel like a lot of teams don't do that because you're just risking injury. Like, your injury risk goes up, I'm sure, tenfold playing 110 snaps a game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, and kind of like to the argument, too, of like you talked about Genty playing the Mountain West. Like, it's not like the Big 12 was a dominant conference this year.
No.
So if you look at what Hunter did, like defensively, like Big 12 defenses are known to give up a lot of points, a lot of yards. And then, offensively, he played I would say he played above average, obviously, as a defensive back, but I mean, it's not like he's in like a top conference playing top teams week after week, like
for sure. And a lot of his yards and everything like came late, man. Like some of those late touchdowns, they were just
stats,
And it's still stats. Don't get me wrong, but you still got to go make the plays. But I just found it interesting. But I mean, rightfully so. Again, you can have an argument for both sides. This year, there were really no big quarterback names out there.
Well, that was going to be my next question. It's like, so if there was like a quarterback that threw for, like had like a Jaden Daniels type of year.
Oh, they'd win it, no doubt.
Yeah, like I think, and then it kind of goes back to the quarterback argument where,
no doubt,
as this year, they put Dylan Gabriel in there because they were number one. He had a good season, but they actually show like Shedeur Sanders had better stats than he did.
Absolutely.
And then Cam Ward, again playing Miami, like had a great season, but it wasn't like an elite level of. It wasn't like you've seen in other seasons where it's just a quarterback just absolutely dominating week after week. So
there's just not that guy in college football this year.
No.
And next year, I mean, it remains to be seen who's going to step up next year because Genty, I'm sure, is going to the draft.
Yeah, they haven't said anything about it yet, but I would be very surprised if he didn't.
And if he does come back, he's definitely hitting the portal, so he can get an opportunity to prove himself at a higher stage.
And I wonder if he is like a quiet kind of guy because like I haven't heard anything about him.
Me either.
Like like other players, it's like speculating this, speculating that, but like with him, like it's all like, I mean, but also like if you kind of look, like you can kind of tell he's kind of a humble guy. Like the other three, Heisman candidates, they all show up like in their nice clothes. All this, he's rocking a Boise State hoodie. Like he's
dude, I didn't watch a second of the.
Well, I mean, like I just saw like different highlights like popping up, and it was like, or like on X, like they like show different stuff. Like everybody's like in their like nice designer clothes, like taking like posing for different things. He's just rocking Boise State stuff, like
yeah,
it's very laid back.
And like the Hunter thing was just so cringe. The one thing I did see was like he laid out his like suit on the ground like Dion did.
Oh man,
I'm like, God, dude, come on, man, just go get your award, man. Like,
exactly.
Don't make this a show.
Yeah, but so I don't know. So it'd be interesting, but yeah, man, but going back to kind of the transfer portal, like that was honestly like when we were doing our bowl pick 'em, like that's what. So first I would look at the expert picks, I'd look at the spread, and then like the next thing I did is I would go and I would look at all the opt outs.
Yeah.
Of all the people that are opting out, and because I know, like, well, for example, Marshall, they backed out of their bowl completely because their all 22 starters are leaving, plus 3 other players. So
yeah, and
I know it's because their head coach left, and apparently they were upset about him leaving or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of a big deal that came out of that.
Who'd you say is replacing him? Tulane,
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so. I don't know. We'll see. I think Army's going to roll regardless, but
are they?
Well, I would say against Marshall, absolutely, but yeah, but Louisiana, I don't know much about Louisiana Tech, honestly.
Me
So,
either, but
oh, but yeah, so we'll see. I thought Army was legit, and then which again, like
it's a
you take what
rivalry.
you can out of that Army Navy game. Like, there's been games where it goes completely against, or there's been lots of times it's gone completely against what you think it is. Like, I know that it's gone under in like 17 of the last 18 games now.
I saw that.
And the only time that it's gone over was the time that I bet on the under. So
That's
and
crazy.
Do you know why it went over? So it was either last year or 2 years
Like
ago.
last minute.
It was last second. Like, Army already had the game in the bag, and they ran a play with like 2 seconds left to score another touchdown.
That's just a bad
It
beat,
was
man.
like the craziest. I remember watching that game. I was sick, dude. Like,
That's a bad beat. But no, yeah, the opt outs for sure, and it happens every year. Like that's kind of what it is. Again, I'm just going off of just because I know the team more. But LSU, when Coach O got fired that year, and Brian Kelly, they announced that he had got the job. They played Kansas State. They had 32 scholarship players on that team,
this is
like
wild,
legitimately,
dude.
like 32.
Yes, I remember that.
And they
It's
went out
crazy.
and played and got destroyed by Kansas State because they literally had to start a wide receiver at quarterback because he played quarterback a few times in
Yeah,
high
it's
school.
close enough.
It was bad. It was not a good football game, but those kind of things happen, and it just makes you wonder. Like with Marshall, like I don't know how much these teams get paid out for going to these bowl games, but that could be a hit to their like bottom line.
Yeah, and,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's kind of where you kind of look at the difference, but also like you don't want it to hurt your recruiting. I guess you go and you play the game and you get beat by 40 points or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
but you would hope that a recruit like sees that and be like, oh well, they didn't have anybody, you know?
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Well,
use some
but not
common
everybody
sense.
will. I mean,
Yeah.
especially like in Marshall, where you're not getting the top players.
That's true. Yeah,
So you have the guys that are kind of torn between Sun Belt teams or whatever it is, and
but you still made a bowl. You know, like your team was good enough. Yeah, and it's hard when you don't have a coach, right?
Yeah,
like your
for
coach
sure.
just leaves and or gets fired.
probably
or
takes half
whatever.
the staff with them or whatever. Yeah, no, for sure. I did see. I saw like there's a couple players that are considering coming back now, though. Also, like
Yeah.
Carson Beck's talking about coming back now because his his draft stock is tanked.
There was rumors Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, like
I saw rumors of that. I don't know if I don't think anything's come out yet, but there's rumors that he's supposed to be possibly coming back.
and then Cade Klubnik too.
Nussmeyer already announced that he's coming back.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a huge thing for LSU.
and I think he should. I mean, I think, and that's kind of where
he
like
threw for 3,700 yards.
yeah, but I always think it's good to get 2 full years under your belt. I mean, I guess, but you also leave the other side too, because he got injured a couple times. Nothing bad,
Who?
but Nuss.
I mean, he got injured. The only time he got injured this year was in that Oklahoma game. He left for 2 drives and came back in and dominated.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess he just got kind of banged up a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's kind of my point though. It's like you just, you try to boost your stats and make yourself look better,
Oh, don't get me wrong.
but also like you're running into that potential of getting hurt.
Oh, he's
so-
probably getting LSU probably is paying him like $2 million to stay.
Oh yeah,
Like
for
no
sure.
doubt. Like
Yeah.
there was a large incentive for him to stay again.
But I mean, where was he ranked as far as like quarterback?
I think he was like
rankings?
5.
Okay, because I never saw like where he was. I know like
When he was playing at his best, like whenever before the Texas A&M game, Mel Kiper had him high, like 2 or 3,
yeah, because he was playing really well. at
and then
that
he started
point.
throwing the picks,
Yeah,
and that's whenever I was like, I wanted him to come back from the get go. I wanted him another year, but
oh yeah, for sure.
but whenever that happened, like obviously it sucked that we were losing, but then you think about it, like man, if he can come back another year, that'd be great. Because for a while there, I mean, he was dominating, like he was easily the best quarterback in the SEC,
Yeah, for sure.
statistically.
Yeah, definitely.
And
So-
then started getting errant throws, all that stuff. But
So if you're like Quinn Ewers, he's kind of torn now. I know too. So like obviously the perception, which rightfully so, is that Arch Manning's the guy after this year
he's
for
gonna
sure.
be absolutely.
So I know that like one of the things that we were talking about outside the pod was that like Michigan State offered him $4 million apparently.
Yeah, that's a rumor.
to come be in. So I mean,
But dude,
like, does that benefit him though?
no, it's probably going to be a bad Michigan State team playing in the Big Ten. Like honestly, if I'm Quinn, I either go to a good situation in college, or I just go into the NFL draft, get drafted in the 3rd round somewhere, to a decent team, be a backup for a few years, and just figure it out.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
Because if you're a top overall pick, like you're expected to start day one. Like with Quinn, if he gets drafted in the late second, early third round or something, like there's no expectation on him. He just goes somewhere, learns the system, probably in a good situation. Like I don't know I wanted to say the Bengals, but
I mean, like, look at his schedule though. Like, so let's say he goes to
Michigan State.
Michigan State. He plays USC, Nebraska, UCLA, Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State, Iowa, and Maryland.
Yes, but he also is not going to have Barron to throw to. He's not going to have Moore to throw to.
For sure.
You know what I mean? He's not going to have Isaiah Bond to throw. Like, that tight end, Heim,
Gunnar Helm, yeah.
Helm, whatever.
Heim if you ask Aaron.
I don't know. But no, he doesn't have those weapons to throw to, and he's definitely not going to have that good of an offensive line.
Right. No,
that's one of the big things at Texas. Like their offensive line is dominant.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So it depends on the situation. I think you have to weigh your options. Or I mean, he could take a flyer. I mean, it sounds like Oregon's going to have an opening.
Yeah.
If Oregon's willing to take a shot on him, they seem to do that a lot. I know they have a young 5-star behind Gabriel.
And Oklahoma's got an opening.
Yeah, God.
Dang, could you imagine?
He would
dude?
never. I don't think he'd do that.
His girlfriend goes to Oklahoma. So.
Yeah, but that's a bad situation.
Yes, yeah.
With talk about transfer portals,
dude,
man.
So many transfers.
I mean, dude, they're getting decimated, man. And Jackson Arnold ended up going where?
Auburn,
right?
Yeah.
And their 5-star from last year entered the portal after he went over there. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the portal for sure. And then I saw Miller Moss from USC went to Louisville.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have got that Adidas money.
I guess, but yeah, it's a big shakeup in the portal. There's a lot of big talented guys hopping in from a lot of places, and it's not going to be the last of it either because you still have 6 or 12 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
like there's going to be some attrition in those teams too.
Yeah, for sure.
Once they kind of start getting whittled out.
Well, I'm just thinking like. I guess my biggest thing would be if you're Ewers and you're thinking about because this is like one of the weakest quarterback classes in a while.
Yeah.
So really, like Shedeur is number 1, Cam Ward's number 2, but like say Beck comes back, Klubnik comes back, Nussmeier's coming back. Like how many more quarterbacks really are there? So you almost consider going because then like you almost
the following year, yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying like you go this year.
No, yeah. The following year, it's going to be a quarterback heavy.
Yeah.
And if they develop another year, get better.
Exactly. And if there's one thing that NFL teams do is they reach on quarterbacks.
Oh, for sure.
So you definitely have the potential now. You're potentially the number 3 quarterback coming out of the draft. Like you're almost a lock to be first round.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Falcons. I mean, they drafted Michael Penix Jr. right after they signed Kirk Cousins that long deal. So, and it says like, oh, it'd be great if we put our number 8 pick and he sits for 4 years.
It's crazy.
But if you have the potential to get put into a team, and if you're number 3, you might even drop down a little bit to where you do get put like in a better situation.
For sure.
So,
like a Jordan Love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just sit for a few years, and then the reins will be yours after a while.
Because I mean, I like to say that he kind of reminds me of like Chris Sims when he played for Texas. Like a lot of his draft stock was based on his potential. Like they always said he had the intangibles because Chris Sims didn't have like this great college career.
Yeah.
But because of his intangibles, his size, his arm strength, like things like that, and then obviously his dad, was a Hall of Fame quarterback. But it was things like that where they were like, oh, well, he can be legit, and so Quinn Ewers is kind of in the same boat. It's like he's shown flashes where he can be great. So
yeah,
we'll reach on this guy because we know like if we can develop and get him to work through some of those things, that he can be a good quarterback. So, I mean, that would almost be kind of one of the things I'd be looking at too. Especially because I don't know if you're going to get much of a better situation than what he's in right now.
No,
I mean you might, but
$4 million is a lot of money though.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like you got to think of that too. And
I mean, look at what Kyle McCord did going to Syracuse.
Yeah.
I mean, he actually had a half decent year too.
Dude, he had a great year.
But it's the same thing.
I
like,
think he
who
led
was
the country.
throwing to?
I think he led the country in passing yards.
Well, yeah, dude, he was averaging like 350 yards a
Yeah,
game
it's
or
crazy.
something. Like Prize Picks, he was a lock. Like
Every week. Seriously.
But yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of movement and a lot of decisions to be made. Obviously, I think it depends too on how the playoffs shake out and everything like that. But
But you have to think too, like every school, like this is the portal, like it just is what it is. Like every team's gonna have attrition. Like it doesn't matter if you win the national championship or not. Like you're gonna have kids go into the portal because they now don't see a route to start. You know what I mean? Like you have a 4 or 5 star guy who came in last year as a freshman, and they bring in somebody in the portal to kind of make an impact right away. That kid's probably going to jump in the portal. Like it's just it is what it is. Like a defensive lineman, you see it all the time. Like with D linemen, like you have to develop. You have to get in the weight room, and sometimes the 4th, 5th year guys are going to be who's going to be playing because they're just developed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're at a higher stage than you at that point. Yeah,
and that was. I keep going back to LSU, but this is what I listen to and know a lot about. But with the defensive lineman Jakeem Stewart, the freshman, he was going to be the number 1 player in the 2026 class.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 17 years old. He reclassified to this year. He ended up still being a 5-star. He was between like Ohio State, Oregon, LSU, and USC. And he played 10 games. He's played 10 games of competitive football.
Wow.
So he literally, so he was a freshman. He didn't play his freshman year for some reason. He played his whole sophomore season. And then this year, his junior season, he transferred to Edna Carr, which is a school in New Orleans. So because he transferred, he couldn't play his junior season. And he's 17 years old.
And now he's graduating.
And now he's graduating, and he's going to be on campus in the spring at USC trying to get a starting spot. USC gave him $2 million.
Wow.
So if you're LSU, like, do you say, hey, do I put my resources and give this kid who's played 10 games $2 million to get on campus? Or do I use those funds and go get a 4th, 5th year guy who's going to make an immediate impact? And you don't have to pay him $2 million. You can pay him $1 million.
Yeah.
You can pay him $800,000 to come down to LSU and make an immediate impact tomorrow.
And then you could even let him have a good year at USC.
He could be in the portal next year.
And then in the portal next year, come right back down. Like
you're just not guaranteed. Like there's never a guarantee. And the same thing happened with that Cade Phillips kid, who he was initially committed to Texas, flipped to LSU, and then flipped back to Texas.
Yep.
Like the numbers came out, and LSU was going to give him a 2-year deal for $800,000 a year, and Texas came in and gave him a 1-year deal for $1 million, and he took that. And $200,000 is a lot of money.
Oh yeah, when you're 17, 18 years old,
For sure.
yeah, absolutely.
But there has to be a point in your program where you have to budget and say, look, this is our number. We're not going to budge from this number. You either take it or don't. And if you don't take it, we're going to go get a Jakeem Jackson, the corner from Florida, who was a 5-star 2 years ago, come in and start right away, and you give him that money.
I mean, essentially, what it is, it's like
because you're taking a gamble on an 18 or 19-year-old.
Yeah, and
17.
You're taking a gamble, and then also like it's like your own personal salary cap.
Yeah,
Like we only have this much money that we're trying to spend, and if we give you this much, well, that's that much less that we have to spend on other players.
yeah, because you got to build a roster at the end of the day. Like, sure. I would love for all those guys to go to LSU. That would be awesome. I would love for Bryce Underwood to be at LSU. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But LSU cannot afford $4 million on one guy.
No, absolutely.
They were willing to pay him 1.5. That's a lot of money.
That's what we can afford.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But then if LSU probably could have matched the $4 million. Honestly, they probably could have. But then they probably would have gotten in a bidding war with Michigan, and it just would have kept going up.
Yeah.
And then now you use that 1.5 and you spread it around and go get some impact players this year.
Yeah, for sure.
And then figure it out down the road.
Well, and especially when you have a high-level receiver, or like when you already have a high-level quarterback, now you can build more. Now you can put more of that focus on receivers to put around that guy.
And linemen, offensive linemen. They're going in
Yes.
and targeting linemen.
Yeah.
A blocking tight end who's unbelievable pass catcher as well from OU.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's weird. That's how you have to build rosters now. Like, it's not just as simple as, hey, let's get this 5-star kid to come in and I mean, LSU did break the bank for DJ Pickett. That was not a want or a need. That was a must. Like, LSU needed to have corners to come in because they were so bad on the back end,
Right.
and so they were able to break the bank on that.
Got to get back to DBU.
Or at least try. You know?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, it is kind of crazy how it's just become so much of like a amateur pro at this point. Like,
Dude, it even came down. Brian Kelly in a press conference 2 days ago literally said that. So last week he came out and said, pretty much had a call to the LSU fan base that we need to start, or they need to start donating and trying to. If you want a good, solid football team on the field, like we have, like to compete in this level, to be able to sit at the poker table, you have to have money. Is pretty much what he said.
yeah, for sure.
And he announced 2 days ago that he's going to match up to $1 million
Really?
to the Tiger Athletic Foundation, which you can't put your money directly into the program, but I guess there's loopholes where if you donate it to like a booster fund.
Yeah.
So he's literally like, so if
There's always ways around it.
So if the fan base donates $1 million, he's going to match another $1 million.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. That's how much he wants to win.
Yeah, no, for
That just
sure.
shows that he wants to win. Like, that's why he went to LSU.
Yeah, it's just crazy though. Like he's like offering to match, and then you have SMU boosters that donate $140 million because they
Dude.
joined a major conference. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
oh man,
It's nuts. But it's going to be a lot different next year with the rev share thing. So I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out and all the ins and outs of it. But they're supposed to do like revenue sharing.
yeah, like it'll
starting
be interesting with
July.
like the revenue sharing, and then also like whenever they do end up changing to where. Like whenever the new or whenever the current TV deals go out, and then you turn in like these super conferences, like
Yeah, it's
how are they going to play through all that? Like, because then it's going to be like, I mean, I'm sure that right now there's already like your top guys are already like sitting in a room and saying like having a full plan ready to go, so that as soon as this happens, like things are already going to be in motion. So
I mean, you have to prepare for that, or you're going to be left behind. Like that is what it is. You'll be behind the 8 ball. Like, I know a lot of schools, once the NIL stuff hit, like they were just lost. Like, they didn't know what to do. They didn't have a game plan with donors and everything. And
it was just so fast.
yeah, exactly.
Like, it was
one day it was there, one day it wasn't,
which was
or
unbelievable.
vice versa. One day it wasn't there,
Yeah.
the next day it was.
Yeah, and so and then you're just playing catch up the rest of the time. So so hopefully there is some sort of plan, because I mean otherwise it's just going to keep getting worse, and then I mean like you're going to be paying. I mean it's kind of like salaries go up in the pros. Like, it's going to keep going up in college to where you're just paying unbelievably stupid money.
But maybe because again, like LSU, they found they reached a point to where they said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. But
So-
like LSU says that, but like who's to say teams like
Texas.
Texas A&M?
I mean,
like-
it doesn't. But you see what happened to Texas A&M with that recruiting class a few years ago when they did that.
Yeah.
Like, I think they might have like 10 of those guys left,
Well,
if
yeah,
that.
but I mean,
Like
it's
they've all left. So they
Yeah.
invested all this money on that recruiting class, and they left.
well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing as like with running backs in the NFL, where like for a while, like they like the salaries of running backs were going up, and then they got burned.
Yeah.
Like Todd Gurley and Zeke, with those were the last big contracts.
Yeah.
They got burned, and so now look what's happening to the running back in the NFL. So yeah, I could see that too, being like we're not going to keep getting burned because we're spending $30 million a year in NIL, and
But-
these dudes are staying for 1 year and bailing. Like,
And even when a Texas or a Oregon or a A&M or a now Michigan, like even if they have unlimited money, like there still comes a point where like you have to see some progress. Like you can't, like these donors aren't just gonna be like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep handing them money.
it's like Ohio State, yeah. That's
know
where
what I
Ohio
mean?
State's at right now.
Yeah,
It's like Ryan Day better win a national championship this year. He's probably not coming back next year.
absolutely.
Like,
look at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Ole Miss put $20 million into their roster this year. They didn't make the playoff.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like I'm sure the boosters are like, we're not going to give you that much money again. Like we can go 8-3 with $10 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
so or
Well, 'cause I'm sure Ole Miss is in the same boat as LSU, where you've got your big time donors, but there's a cap.
yeah, like those schools have multiple millionaires. Like the Oregons and the Michigans and the Texas, they have billionaires that
Yeah.
are in their alumni base. Like it's a different ballgame.
For sure. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years. But,
But I think at some point, if they do super conferences, there's going to be a limit. They're going to have to have a limit at some point just to even the playing field.
and that's what I mean by going back to having a plan. It's like there's got to be something to where, like, you pretty much set a salary cap for your conferences.
And I think rev share is kind of the start of that.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like they're doing.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's got to be some kind of step in the right direction. But I guess it'll all play itself out eventually.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, but with that being said, man, there's some good games coming up this week.
Yeah, dude, I'm fired up. So I guess like my first question is like, are there any like out of those four, like who's your most likely to upset this week?
Dude, I talked with Travis, my coworker, about this. Like, I think any of the underdogs can win.
You think so?
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Indiana can win. Clemson can win. Tennessee can win.
Yeah.
Who's the other
SMU.
one? SMU can win.
Yeah.
Like, literally every single one of them can win.
Mm-hmm. That's where, yeah, and that's kind of where I was looking at it too, because like I was doing that bracket playoff thing, and I guess like the biggest factor looking at it is I was looking at like the home field advantage. I guess is like the one thing I was looking at, because like I do see what you're saying, but I also felt like when I picked them, like I picked all the higher seeds just because I feel like although all of them can win, it's like, but will they be able to? So,
But yes, home field advantage does have a big impact on it. But do you think that the home team is going to go 4-0? Like the way the season has played out this year.
yeah, I mean, like if they didn't go 4-0, I would not be surprised at all. Just because, I feel like
I'd be surprised if they go 0-4.
yeah,
But like 2-2, like that's a definite possibility.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I know we talked about last week, but that Tennessee Ohio State game, like that's the one that, because I feel like, I mean, well, I don't really know what Ohio State's thinking at this point, because I could see them looking ahead to that Oregon game. But then also at the same time, it's like, well, now we got to prove something because they lost to Michigan. Because now we lost to Michigan. So
yeah,
and Ryan Day is absolutely coaching for his job right now,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like he's consistently been on the top of the rankings and the top of the standings every single year.
Dude, if I'm him, I'm pissed. Like,
yeah,
like sure, you want to beat your rival, yes, but your rival's sitting at home.
Yeah,
like you're in the dance.
Yeah, I mean,
like that's the end. That's the goal of the season, is to get to the dance.
And you've gotten to that point, but also, like, I know he understands that, but like the fans don't understand that, because it kind of goes back to the NIL thing. Like they were another $20 million roster that they built, and so our roster was built where we go 13-0. We have the number 1 seed, and we're going to win a national championship.
Yeah, but that's so hard because you have 10 other schools doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's where like people need to like
chill out,
take a step back, man. Like you're in the dance. Like you have a shot to win the Natty.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you're there. Like, sure, you would have loved to beat Oregon in a close game in Eugene. Sure, you'd love to beat your rivals in a close game at home. But dude, like you still have everything to play for. Like you don't play the entire season to beat Michigan. You play the entire season to win a national championship, and you have a shot.
So when you like went through your games, were there any where like you think that is there an underdog you think has a better chance than any of the other ones?
Let me go through my picks. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that online because live, because then.
Oh yeah, people might flip around.
People might flip it. No, man, there were a few. I did. Never mind. I think. I just gave it away. I really do think Tennessee can win in Ohio State. That's definitely a possibility. But I honestly, I want to see the thing I'm most fascinated about is seeing what Indiana does.
Yeah.
Because obviously, the whole talk about strength of schedule, all this stuff. Man, Notre Dame lost at Northern Illinois. They were in a barn burner with USC.
For sure.
Like, I don't know. Indiana's no slouch of a defense. Like, they're a good defense. So, I don't know if Riley Leonard's going to be able to move the ball very well against that defense.
Yeah. And
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game for sure.
yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, when I think of, like, you know, the 8-9 game, I think that's just like one of those, like, where it could go either way. Like, it's not really an upset if the 9 beats an 8.
No.
But, like, as far as, like, Indiana, like, I think they absolutely have a shot against Notre Dame because all you have to have is enough opportunities. And kind of going back to what we just talked about home field, or like what I was talking about home field, like, I think we said it last week, but they're both in Indiana.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're traveling a long way to go play in their game. So, I mean, I think absolutely they have a chance to go in there and cause problems.
Talking about the home field advantage, I think the team that has the biggest home field advantage is Penn State.
Yeah.
Like SMU's got to go all the way up into what is it, State College, Pennsylvania is where they play.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be cold.
Happy Valley.
Well, that's I don't think that's the name of the town. I think it's State College, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where they play is Happy Valley. But that's always a raucous crowd too, and you know those crazy dudes are and I guess females will be in the stands very loud. Because I mean, are they going to do a whiteout game? I don't know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, dude,
I mean,
I love their whiteout game.
there's just no precedence for the playoffs. That's why it's awesome. This is the
Yeah.
first time, but I would do a playoff. I would do a whiteout for the playoff. But
I mean, if this is one game you're hosting, absolutely. I mean,
but yeah, it's but being from Dallas, man, going all the way up there in the cold, how's that offense going to churn? I don't know,
yeah.
but I guess Penn State did play a high flying offense against Oregon, and they held their own.
yeah.
They were able to score.
Yeah, they crapped the bed against Ohio State.
Well, they
Played
lost by
well.
7.
Well, that's what I mean, but they played well defensively,
Yeah.
but didn't score points. But then against Oregon,
They gave
their
up points.
defense gave up a lot of points, but they also scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
You kind of seen both sides of it.
Yeah.
So you kind of see like,
But that's where home field, I think, has the biggest advantage of all the 4 games.
and again, and kind of like what we were talking about with Indiana, like SMU is gonna have to prove that they can play with a bigger school as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because the best team they played was Clemson.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were in a 17-point hole at one point.
But they also lost on a 56-yard field goal.
Right. But that's what I mean.
They
though,
were
is
in
like,
it.
yeah. So like they weren't in it and then they got themselves back into
Yeah.
it. And so it's just, can they, because you're going to have to play consistent, especially going to Penn State. You're going to have to play consistent across the game. Like, if they go down
can't get
17 against
down.
Penn State, you're not coming back, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
So I think that they're gonna have to keep up, and as long as Kevin Jennings can keep playing well, I mean, I think he gives them a shot for
Yeah.
sure. But Drew Aller, like, he's been playing a lot better, and their offense has been playing a lot better. So
I'm really curious to see how Texas's offense comes out too against Clemson, whose defense does not look very good.
yeah, for sure. Because I mean, that's gonna be one of the biggest questions. Absolutely, is Texas gonna be able to put points up?
They should.
Yeah,
If SMU's able to, you would think Texas should be able to for sure. But
yeah, absolutely. But you also don't know
No.
because I mean they've been so just up and down as far as just putting up points and being able to score. Like, Ewers
And
shows
just put-
flashes where he can be a top quarterback, and then he's seeing ghosts and he's
Yeah.
taking bad sacks. Like,
well, I feel like they also have like the LSU bug too, where they get down into the red zone and settle for field goals or
Yes.
missed field goals because their kicker has been
their
missing
red
like
zone
crazy.
offense is not good.
That's how LSU was too. And if you do that against Clemson, their offense is manageable. Like they have a pretty good offense, not a great offense by any means, but I mean they should be able to put up some points. I think against Texas, I would imagine
well, and I would say Klubnik's probably.
playing better.
Well, he's playing better, and he's also, I think he's probably the best dual threat quarterback that they're going to have seen all year.
I think
As far as like his ability to throw and run the ball.
he's for sure the best quarterback they've seen this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Like no doubt about that.
Yeah, like, because they haven't seen anybody that's been able to make good throws, but then also extend plays and also make good runs. Like Marcel Reed was a straight running quarterback. Like Carson Beck was a straight pocket passer. Like
And
it
then he
was,
got hurt.
yeah, and then he gets hurt. But then you also see, and again, it's you didn't plan for him, but you know the quarterback that came in, Stockton, he had a little success on the run,
Running, yeah.
being able to extend. So,
I also think Klubnik's just a better quarterback than Carson Beck anyway.
oh yeah, no, I
But-
agree. I mean, I think Carson Beck has progressively exposed himself more and more throughout the year. So
Yeah.
to the point where now he's talking about not going in the draft because his draft stock is tanking.
Yeah.
And plus now you're hurt. So I haven't even heard an update. Like, is he?
I don't know.
Like, I don't think they've said anything about whether he's good to go or not.
I mean, it was I have no idea. It was kind of a. I heard it was a UCL.
I mean,
Like
that's rough.
Yeah, like possible Tommy John.
See, but I also heard, because I've seen a kid before that he had a UCL injury, and they said it doesn't necessarily affect you as a football player because it's a different kind of throwing motion.
Could be.
So like it's not as much torque on the elbow like when you're pitching. So it like you'll still feel it, but
Yeah.
it's not going to like negatively impact it as much. So I mean,
He's not going to be able to throw a 50-yard bomb.
right, exactly. So it's going to be a lot. Which not that he's throwing 50-yard bombs anyway.
Yeah.
So, but it's going to be a lot more check downs, short underneath throws, stuff like
Absolutely.
that, where you're just keeping everything in front of you.
But how much does that handcuff an offense if that's what you're limited to?
Oh yeah, no,
if you,
absolutely.
if you can't open up the
Yeah, you're not able to
field.
get the ball downfield.
Yeah.
For sure. So, but the good thing is he's got a full 2 weeks to recover.
Yeah,
So, well, good thing for them
with the
I mean,
bye. Yeah.
So we'll kind of see. Plus they're playing. I would my guess right now would be Penn State.
Most likely.
But
yes.
and that'll be kind of interesting because you're playing against a pretty good defense and a solid offense. I mean, and they'll key on mistakes and opportunities. So,
Yeah.
but
Was there any word on Kelvin Banks?
I haven't heard anything
Yeah.
on him either. I think
That was we talked about that a few weeks ago.
yeah, I know. Like he didn't play last week in the SEC championship, and I mean, if I had to guess, I would assume that he's going to play because. But I could also see him being very cautious because he's projected
Draft
to be a top 2 draft pick,
Absolutely.
possibly number 1. Like, so I mean, so I know like he's thinking that in the back of his mind as well. So, which I mean,
You would hope your guy is wanting to win a championship, though.
yeah, you definitely wanted to be able to. But I mean, really, like that true freshman Gooseby that he's been playing, like he's been serviceable for sure. So
Yeah.
I mean, but obviously when you have the number 1 tackle in the nation, like if
You
had to,
want him
if
to
you
play.
had to pick, you want that guy in
Yeah.
there. So, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be some good matchups. I mean, I think we both agreed last week that Tennessee and Ohio State will probably end up being like probably the best game to watch.
God, but the way the season's gone is probably gonna be the worst.
Something will happen. I mean, you do have a true freshman playing his first ever playoff game, so I could see it being really a low scoring kind of crap game, honestly. To where, because I mean, like
You just never know.
Will Howard's been so inconsistent. Like you don't know what to expect out of him. And then I'm Aleva, it's kind of the same thing with him. Like he's shown flashes, but then also, look very vulnerable. So I don't know, man. But
Should be good.
are there any other bowl games that you're really looking forward to?
Nah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch him.
the Pop Tart Bowl.
Yeah, I just wanna
Dude,
see that trophy again.
Cam Ward said he's going to play.
Is he really?
That's what he said. So they said we'll see what happens when it gets closer to. But dude, I was looking, or I saw something where they're talking about Shadur Sanders because he's the number 1 quarterback coming out, and apparently like his goal is to play for the Raiders or the Cowboys, obviously. And so like they said like the indication is that he would pull an Eli Manning and say like I'm not playing for the Giants or I'm not playing for whoever. So they said the Giants may end up quote
Trading.
unquote settling on Cam Ward. So, which I mean, in my opinion, I mean, I don't consider that really settling. I mean, Cam Ward's looks solid. I mean,
Yeah. I'd take Shadur over him.
yeah. I
But-
just don't know, man. Like I don't.
Like in one sense, you don't want a diva like that on your team who's gonna like never played a snap in the NFL and is already dictating his terms. You know what I mean?
I mean, Caleb Williams sort of tried the same thing whenever he
did,
came out,
and it didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Which again, I don't know the full like if it was actually true or not, but I remember he was saying he wanted like partial ownership stock.
God,
and,
dude. But if that would have worked, what a deal.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely, yeah.
But God, yeah, no, I don't know. But Shadur definitely has the higher upside in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like in the NFL, I don't think Cam Ward's going to be a serviceable NFL quarterback in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe he'll prove me wrong. I just don't know if Shadur is going to be able to translate over. But
My thing with Shadur though is like, and this could definitely happen in the NFL too. I mean, look at Joe Burrow with the Bengals, but like Shadur last year, that was a really, really bad football team.
yeah,
Like the line was god awful.
one
He
of the
got
worst in the nation.
He
Absolutely.
he got sacked like 5 times a game, and he still put up crazy numbers.
Yeah,
So if he's able to do that with a bad offensive line, you would hope that he goes into an organization that can build around him, like get an offensive line that can protect him, and he can go do his thing.
I guess my argument
You know what I
against
mean?
that though is like, yeah, he put up crazy numbers, but like, how many of those yards and touchdowns were like trash yards, and trash touchdowns? Like,
I mean, it very well could be, but still, like you're
I mean,
getting
they
sacked 5 times a game.
no, I agree, but I mean, they went 4-8 last year, so I mean,
You're under pressure the entire game.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's but if I remember
you're
right,
also throwing the entire game,
yeah, you are.
so
That's true. And you're throwing to Travis Hunter,
yeah,
which helps too.
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, Cam Ward, I don't know. His arm slot's weird the way he throws the ball. Like he's not. I don't think he's as dynamic of a runner as like a Lamar.
No,
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I
So,
don't know
like,
if he's mobile at all. Is he? I mean,
I think I thought he was pretty like.
I was I
Decently
don't
mobile.
really know what his rushing was like this year, but I know he sets up more as like a pocket passer,
Yeah.
but.
I don't know. We'll see. It remains to be seen for that too. But there's what it comes down to is there's really no good quarterbacks coming out. Like
Yeah.
it's just not a good draft year for quarterbacks.
No, absolutely, and that's where, kind of like where I've talked about before with the Panthers. Like, I mean, if you think you can survive a couple more years with Bryce Young, like build a roster, like
Yeah.
get like a Kelvin Banks to boost your offensive line. You know, get some good receivers that can go and support like a quarterback. And then you draft a quarterback later on that's going to be able to come into a good situation.
Yeah.
Like don't keep setting yourself up for failure. I mean, look at how long that because that was the biggest problem with the Browns and
Yeah.
with the Lions and like teams like that where you're just constantly drafting a new guy, but it's like, what are you doing to build around him?
Yeah, I feel like the formula is simple,
It really is like
but like teams just don't do that.
they put so much of an emphasis on we need a quarterback, but it's like,
And you do. That's the most important position
Yeah, absolutely.
in all of team sports. Like there's no doubt about it.
but you're not going to get a guy like Brady or like Aaron Rodgers who are literally throwing to like nobodies. Like I know like in Aaron Rodgers' entire career with the Packers, they drafted a receiver in the first round like one time.
Yeah.
Like and then going back to Jordan Love, they drafted Jordan Love and like they had receivers ready for Aaron Rodgers and they draft Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So we're not going to draft guys to support you. We're going to draft your replacement. So it's like, you know, why do I want to be in an organization that's not even going to, you know, help me out?
I mean, sure, but
I mean, look at the guys Brady was thrown to in some of his Super Bowl wins.
for sure. But you can also make a case though, like how many receivers in the NFL like just in general are like serviceable wide receivers that weren't first round picks. Like there's a lot of them.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like you got to get the quarterback. Like
Yeah.
you have to get your guy. Like that's first and foremost. You got to get your guy, and then you got to protect him first and foremost. The receivers will come. Like,
Yeah, but right now, like who's Bryce Young throwing to?
dude, I have no idea.
You know who Bryce Young's number one receiver is?
Oh, it's the dude who's freaking hilarious.
Who?
Like the guy who does the freaking funny interviews. God, what is that guy's name, dude? He's so funny. What's his name? What's his number one receiver?
I was gonna say Adam Thielen.
Oh, is it really? No.
like, Who are you
God.
thinking of?
Dude, he's so funny. Hang on. This is bad radio or bad
That's all
podcasting.
Oh, Leggett?
Leggett, dude.
Yeah. So he is their top receiver, but
Leggett's hilarious, bro. Have you seen some of his interviews?
I may have at some
Dude,
point.
I'll show you after the pod, dude. It's so fun.
Today he had 2 catches for 7 yards.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Um,
Against the Cowboys,
yeah,
who didn't have Trevon Diggs and also lost Jordan Lewis in the middle of the game. So,
that's really not good.
yeah.
But no, but you're gonna have guys to throw to. Is my point. Like,
You're going to have guys that throw to, but there's a difference between guys that throw to and serviceable receivers.
I guess.
I mean, like, if you got a bunch of
Like
nobodies.
obviously, you can go get a Justin Jefferson or a Jamar Chase or a freaking CeeDee Lamb. Like, you can go get those guys, but like, that's your wide receiver one.
But I feel but it also benefits. So, like, going to, like, your serviceable guys, like, to have serviceable guys, you, like, in my opinion, I feel like you need, like, a number one to open up the other ones.
Absolutely, put their best cover corner on the
Yeah,
number one, and then go,
Because, well, because you're putting emphasis for more than one guy. Like, because it's not just, because then otherwise you can just man up everybody and you'll be okay. Like, you'll have some of your big games.
yeah, but like Randall Cobb was being thrown to for years with Rodgers. Like, it's not like he didn't have nobodies. Like, he had good receivers to throw to.
Yeah, but is Randall Cobb a good receiver or is he a serviceable receiver?
He's a good receiver.
I mean, I felt like he was made better because of Aaron Rodgers.
You think? I mean, it's hard to say. Like, would you say the same?
I mean,
thing?
it's hard to say because he only played for Aaron Rodgers.
I know.
so-
That's what I mean. That's exactly.
But he also knew how to play the game.
Yeah,
Like, look at Devontae Adams.
yeah.
Like, Devontae Adams, like, playing for other quarterbacks, he kind of, like, he fell off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like you have to have, I don't know.
Like Tyreek. Like, what about Tyreek? What's he doing right now? Is he doing good this year? I don't know.
He was hurt for several games, but I mean, he's been doing good for 2 of those.
Yeah.
But again,
They're
but
losing.
But in my opinion, that's a receiver making a quarterback better.
Maybe.
Like, I mean, I feel like Tyreek Hill is an elite receiver.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, and I don't know if I've never considered Tua to be like an elite quarterback, but I feel like he's better because he has Devon A-Chain, who's I think he's a good running back there. He's got, Tyreek Hill throwing the ball. Like, he's got pieces around him to make him better.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of receivers that, like, there's not a lot of elite quarterbacks. Like, there are a lot of serviceable and good receivers out there.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at.
No, I do agree with that. But I think it definitely helps to have like that number one to open up like your serviceable, decent guys.
Yes. But like, think about how many receivers come out every year that turn out to be number ones. Like, it happens every year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, like
Malik Neighbors is a rookie this year, and I think he's doing. The Giants aren't a good football team.
Yeah, they don't throw him the ball either. But they're also on their fourth-string quarterback now.
He had 10 receptions today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like I said, they're fourth-string. But that's what I mean. But that's where I go back to the argument of you need that number one.
Yeah, but
so like with the Cowboys.
But he was a late first-round draft pick. Like, there was like 4 other receivers ahead of him.
Yeah, but he's still a first-round pick.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I still think.
But there's 5 of those. There's 5 of those in the first round.
Was he late first? Are you sure?
He might have been second.
I'm trying to think. Because but that's kind of where I go to. So, like, for me, like, being a Cowboys fan, like, CeeDee Lamb, like, you need, like, if Cooper Rush, being the backup quarterback, like, if I need to make a play, who am I throwing to? CeeDee Lamb.
Of course.
And that's what I mean. That's that number one. Like, you need that number one to make you better. Like,
yes.
If you have just serviceable guys and you're struggling and you don't have like a sure guy to go to.
But again, that's where drafting a good quarterback first overall isn't very important.
Neighbors went 6th overall.
Did he go 6th overall?
Yeah.
I thought he was late. Who got drafted ahead of him?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's right.
So he was the second drafted.
Which both of those guys are doing well.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison's having a really good year.
I was thinking of Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah.
That's who got drafted
he
late
was
first.
late first.
But he's been doing well for the Jags.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, the Jags are bad.
Yeah, they're very bad. But again, like that's not a top pick
No.
doing good. You know what I mean?
But I mean, he's still a
Sir-
first round pick. I mean,
Yes, he is.
like
Definitely, he's
if
still
you draft a
first-rounder.
receiver first round, like you're wanting them
Yes.
to be your number one.
Eventually, yes.
So I don't know. It just I don't even. What were we even? Oh, we were talking about Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't
But
know.
I think you got to build from the interior. You got to have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
First and foremost, the receivers they'll come. Like you'll get them. I think there are way more good receivers than there are teams that have a good setup for
and I will
a
agree.
quarterback to come in, like Joe Burrow, for example.
Yeah.
Like Joe Burrow has multiple really good targets.
Yeah.
Offensive line is god awful.
Hey, but
Their defense is bad too.
well, I was gonna say too, like that dude, he was able to take them to a Super Bowl with a horrendous offensive line.
Absolutely.
So that's where I put him in like that. Like he's almost in like that. I put him in like that Rodgers conversation.
Yeah, no
where
doubt.
he's able to just make stuff happen on his own
No doubt.
because like he knows like it's on me, like I have to do it. So he's gonna make whatever receiver around him. Like, but that's very rare that you see a quarterback that's able to do that.
But he also has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yeah,
Those are arguably two number ones.
that's true.
You know, and that's not taking anything away from Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
But like, I mean, the dude has MVP numbers, and
Yeah.
he's what 4-8.
well, they won today, so 5-8.
Oh, well, there you go.
But I do agree. Like, if anything else, you need an offensive line,
Yeah.
to at least support you. So
And like, don't get me wrong, Brady's the GOAT. Like, don't get that twisted. But dude, he had some really good defenses.
absolutely,
Like the Patriots defense was, I think, like an unsung hero during all those Super Bowls.
and he had elite offensive line.
Yeah.
And so and then but that going back to your argument, then it's like he's able to throw to
I mean,
lesser guys because
Moss,
he's got all. Well, I mean,
Edelman.
he had Moss for a couple of years, but
Edelman.
is Edelman like? If Edelman's playing for anybody else, is he that level?
I mean,
I don't think he is.
dude, during that time, he was a dominant slot receiver. Like, he was an elite route runner.
But if you don't, but if he's playing for,
If he's playing for
Bryce Young right now, is he putting up those numbers?
no, because Bryce Young doesn't have that offensive line or defense.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's where like there's a case to be made. Like, if Brady goes into the Panthers, does he do what he did? Does he even come close to doing what he did with the Patriots?
Yeah.
If he goes into the Panthers day one,
Day one, yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we'll never know.
Well, we will never know. But it's a debate that's like
Yeah.
worth having.
It kind
Like,
of it does go both ways though, because like, and again,
would Bryce Young do that with the Patriots? Probably not.
because like Edelman is like Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb only played for Aaron Rodgers. Edelman only played for Brady.
Did he?
like-
Did Edelman go to the Broncos?
The
No, that was-
Bucks. But he didn't go. He retired.
No, Edelman.
Yeah, he retired
Before,
when Brady left. Edelman retired.
what's the dude that went to the Broncos? Decker. Just
Uh-oh.
thinking of white slot
Eric
receivers.
Decker, yeah, yeah. But Eric Decker, he fell off.
Yeah, he did.
Well, he was good for the Jets.
Yeah.
He made Mark Sanchez better,
Yes.
and then he went over to the Broncos.
With Manning, right?
No,
Was
he
he there
didn't
with
play
Manning?
for
No.
Manning. I don't think. Maybe for a year, but he had already kind of
Fell
fallen
off,
off
yeah.
by that point. No, he had Demarius Thomas.
Yeah.
Who Manning had.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It is a good.
It's a good debate.
It's a good debate to see. Like the difference, because I mean there are plenty of quarterbacks that have gone into bad situations
yeah.
that have potential to be good.
Tony Romo.
Well, but Romo, I mean, again,
Romo was in a bad situation,
but
offensive line wise.
Romo had elite offensive line.
Towards the end of his career, not at the beginning for
At
sure.
the beginning, he absolutely did. In 2007, like in that run right there, they had the top offensive line in the NFL then too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
he had elite offensive line.
I know
But,
Dak had an elite offensive line when he first came in,
yeah,
and then it's gone down. But
but again, like, and that kind of goes back to like Romo at the beginning of Romo's career. Like his number one receiver was Miles Austin,
Yeah.
like who who again Romo made him way better because then when he left and tried to go get a career somewhere else, he completely fell off.
Dude, I thought Romo's offensive line was god awful.
No,
There had to have been a period where it wasn't good.
at the beginning it was rough, but then like by year 3 or 4, their offensive line was one of the top in the NFL, and then at the end of his career, it was one of the top in the NFL. Like
I knew at the end it was.
The majority
'Cause
of his-
that's when Dak started coming in.
the majority of his career, he had really good offensive line.
Mm.
But also, like, Romo also had some of the worst defenses in history when he was at, and that's where a lot of those losses came through.
Yeah.
Like the year they went 8-8, so the year after the Saints had the worst defense in the NFL, it may not have been the year after, but it was like 2 or 3 years later. The Cowboys had the third worst defense in NFL history, and they lost on a blocked field goal on the last game of the season to not make the playoffs. Because Romo literally carried that team
Yeah.
the entire season. They went 8-8, and like if they made that field goal against the Giants, they would have gone 9-7, won the division. So
Yeah, that's brutal.
that's forever my Romo. So the people that say Dak is better than Romo can kick grass because they have no idea.
Yeah,
Dak is the epitome of being put into a golden situation
for sure.
and falling into pieces, but. He was also a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, I was gonna say
He wasn't expected to be
no,
the guy.
He wasn't highly touted. I mean, he did bring Mississippi State. I think they were ranked number 1 in the country when he was at Mississippi State at one point.
For one game.
Yeah, at one point. I said yeah.
Yeah,
Not
they,
very long.
They were number 1 that year, and then like 2 years later, it was what was it, Fitzgerald? They
Yeah,
they
maybe.
beat Alabama. Did they beat? No, they beat somebody to go number 1. Then they got stomped by Alabama.
Yeah,
But yeah, put Mississippi State on the map though
for a second.
for a second. Oh, but no, man. But yeah. So anyway, go back. College football's gonna be fun this weekend though.
Yeah,
So.
it will. Long tangent there.
What a long tangent, but not even. Then the other thing we hadn't touched on in a while, the Premier League.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of craziness. You know, like people, and again, I know most of our listeners they don't listen to soccer, but if there's one name you've probably heard consistently, it's Manchester City, and like they have I think they have gone winless in like their last 10 matches or something now.
No, they've won 1 in 10.
Or 1 in
They beat
10,
Nottingham
yeah.
Forest 3-0 and have either lost or drawn every other game.
Yeah, which is absolutely bizarre,
Yeah.
dude. Like, because I try to listen to Caught Offside quite a bit, and like they're like in shock.
Yeah, and most people are because I mean, dude, it wasn't too long ago they won the treble or the treble. I don't think they won the quadruple, but so they won the Champions League, the Premier League, and like the FA Cup in a single year. They won
Really?
3 trophies. Yeah,
Wow.
they actually might have won the quadruple. They might have won I don't remember, but no, they always win the Premier League. They won 4 in a row, right? They've been on top of the world, and now I mean it's just getting to that point where a lot of their stars are getting older, right? KDB's older, right?
Yeah.
Gundogan, he literally left to go to Barcelona, wasn't cutting it there, signed a contract to come back to Manchester City, just not having it. Kyle Walker, one of the most dominant right backs for years, has been falling off lately because he relied on pace. He's very fast, and now that he's getting older, he's not quite as quick, right?
Yeah.
Not a great defender. Obviously, the Rodri injury is hurting him bad. But yeah, they just don't have the legs anymore, I don't think, and it's catching up to him. And a lot of people talk about, obviously, Pep's the best coach of all time, or one of the best of all time.
Right.
But like he's always also has been put in situations where the teams are unbelievable, right? He went to Barcelona whenever they were winning everything. Then he went to Bayern Munich where they were winning
Well, they're
everything.
winning everything. Yeah.
Went to Manchester City. They're winning everything. And now, for the first time in his career, he's put into a situation where the team's not performing like normal, right? These superstars are not playing well. And he's not making any tweaks, doing anything to kind of fix that, right?
Right.
If you're playing bad, like, they're leaking goals at the back.
Yeah,
Like,
like you got to make adjustments somewhere.
you got to sit back and defend a little bit and readjust everything, in my opinion. Like, but he's just not doing that. And so,
It's insanity.
yeah.
Doing the
and-
same thing over and over again, expecting a different
Yeah,
result.
and they lost today to Manchester United,
Ooh.
2-1. Yeah,
Ooh.
and it was it was crazy. So City went up early, and it was 1-0 the entire game. In the 88th minute, Manchester United got a penalty, scored it to tie it, and then like 2 minutes later,
Oh my!
in like the
gosh,
91st minute, they scored the winner.
Oh wow!
Yeah, dude, it's been bad. It's been very bad. They lost today again.
Yeah, dude, that's got to
Um,
be insult on top of injury, right
They
there.
lost
like,
midweek to Juventus in the Champions League,
Golly.
where Weston McKennie scored a banger of a goal.
Really?
And it was the first time that an assist and a goal came from an American. So Timothy
awesome.
Weah
Yeah.
got the assist
There you go.
on a freaking banger of a goal by
That's good,
freaking
dude.
Weston McKennie. Yeah,
Is that the Potch effect?
yeah. No, the Americans are playing well. Antoine Robinson, I mean, they played Liverpool this week with
Yeah.
Fulham. He might be one of the best fullbacks in the Premier League right now. He's
Man,
been
that's
playing
awesome.
unbelievable.
They were talking him up whenever Fulham was playing Arsenal
Yeah.
last week too, about how well he's been playing.
Dude, he's been playing out of his mind. Like, I think he had an assist, and he shut down Salah for some of the game. But no, he's been playing really well. That ended up in a draw. Liverpool got an early red card, and they ended up equalizing late, which it's frustrating for as an Arsenal fan because this is the point in the season where Liverpool's starting to drop some points here and there, and
Right.
every time they drop points, we drop points too, right? Arsenal played to a 0-0 draw to Everton.
Well, it kind of goes back to like your point too, like for whatever reason, every time they play Everton, like it's just like a frustrating game. It seems like
Yeah,
it's always tough to beat them for whatever reason. And then I know we were talking outside the pod. It was like, especially yesterday, like trying to watch that, and it's just, dude, it was horrible.
it's hard to watch. Yeah, it's because in the Premier League, right, a lot of these teams are fighting to stay up, right?
Yep.
So like they're sitting back and just defending, putting 11 guys behind the
Yeah,
ball.
they're trying not to get relegated.
Yeah,
like,
and so they're playing for a draw. They're not
Yeah.
they're not going out and attacking at all,
right.
and that's understandable. Like you got to do what you can to get points in the course of a season. And I was talking in my group chat with my Arsenal friends, like Arsenal right now are a team that's built for like the Champions League,
Right.
because in the Champions League, every team that you're going to play is going to play. Like they're trying to score. They're trying to win the game.
Yep.
And Arsenal in the Champions League are scoring for fun. Like they're winning 5-0, 3-0.
Right.
Like they're absolutely dominating
Yes,
because
yeah.
teams are coming at them and then they can pass their way through, opens up the game, and they score.
Right.
In the Premier League, they're just all sitting back. It's just frustrating. You're trying everything. You're trying to break free, break through, get a goal, and it's just not happening. And so, which is really frustrating because Arsenal were scoring for fun the past few years, even in the Premier League. But you were always chasing Manchester City.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Well,
finally
they were
the
more
year,
like the trying to be on the top, and now that they are on the top, yeah.
yeah, like you're just chasing Manchester City the whole year, and this is finally the year they're not playing well.
Right.
And Arsenal can't figure it out. It's
Yeah.
so frustrating. And Liverpool's playing well right now, but like I don't trust Liverpool long term. Like Salah scoring for fun, at some point he's going to drop off. Like
Yeah.
he's there's no way he can keep up this pace.
Yeah, he's playing out of his mind right now. Like,
And he has in the past, but he's getting older, man. There's no way with all these games coming up in the Christmas period. There's no way. Like they're going to drop points for sure, and Arsenal just need to kind of be in touching distance. Chelsea's scoring goals for fun now too, so Chelsea's another one got to watch out for. But
I will say though, it's at least good. Like the last few weeks, that they've been playing so much better though. I know they hit that lull, like, and obviously like
injuries were a
getting
big part.
Odegaard back,
Yeah.
that was a big key. Because I mean, for a while there, like they were drawing against people they had no business drawing against,
Yeah.
and it was just like for just a 3-4 week stretch, it was just
Yeah.
frustrating. And again, like that's just me as like a up and coming fan, whatever.
Yeah.
But
But the one thing about Arsenal too, like they still, I mean, every team has some injuries for sure. But
for sure.
Ben White's hurt, Calafiori's hurt. One of our new,
They said Ben White's out for the year, right?
I think for the year, like he should be coming back in January.
Oh, like just
Yeah.
like for the
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's how they do it in England. They say they actually mean a year.
Yeah.
But no, Calafiori, who's a great signing. He's hurt too. He's one of our fullbacks as well. So we're kind of thin on the fullback like position. So Thomas Partey, who's our defensive midfielder, he's been having to start at right back. like because we just don't have the
Just need
the
somebody
depth.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't have the depth right now for that. So that's kind of hurt us a little bit too. Just the fluidity. Honestly, in my opinion, Arsenal need to go out and sign a true out and out striker to start scoring goals because Jesus is not it. He's past it. Kai Havertz is a good option to have, but
Right.
he's not a striker. Like that's not his position. Like he's not a
Yeah.
true striker. He's more of a false nine attacking midfielder kind of thing. So I don't know. Something needs to happen in the January transfer window, but we'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully they see that is a big need, and they'll try
Yeah.
to go out and get somebody. I mean, are there options out there to like?
Oh yeah, so there's a guy from Sporting. He's in Portugal. Last name is Gokaresh. He's absolutely tearing it up. We've been linked to him for a while. A lot of teams are linked to him. Would be a great option. Vlahovic, he's the striker for Juventus. Been linked to him multiple times. So we'll see, and it remains to be seen. But again, that might not even solve all the problems. Like again, it's all about breaking down these teams that sit back, which is why we do so well against some of the other teams and these smaller teams that are just playing park the bus soccer. It's hard to
crazy.
watch and it's hard to break down.
It's a lot to keep up with too. Like, because like like you're talking about like, going for these strikers and. Like I'm just learning soccer a little bit, but it's like the guys you bring up, it's like not even in the Premier League. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like with the whole transfer window, it's like going across leagues, across this
Countries,
and that. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it is kind of cool though to like to see like just kind of like the transfer across like that and everything. But yeah, we'll see, man. But now the last thing I was going to touch on, we can wrap it up. Kyle Tucker, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say we got to touch on some of the
And
trades.
dipping out. So
I mean, dude, I think the season was still going on when I was talking about making a move if he's not going to stay long term, and it seemed that way the whole time. Like he did not want to be there anymore, and
well, it seemed like talks never even really got started.
no,
And so like if they're not even gonna get started and you got 1 year left on your deal,
why?
well, because like I saw a tweet. I don't remember who it was the other day. It was like people complained when Springer left, when Correa left, when when Maldi left, when it was like a whole list of players, like all these guys left, and it's like, and y'all cried. It was like, and now and the Astros got nothing out of that. It's like now the Astros are trading away Kyle Tucker, getting prospects out of it, and you're still mad. It's like at least now
You're getting
like they understand like we're not going to keep this guy after this year. Let's get something out of it.
Well, back then you didn't have to get something out of those guys because you had a farm system that was flourishing. You had plenty of you had one of the top farm systems in baseball, and now you don't. Right,
Yeah,
you don't
for
you don't have anybody to fall back on. Right,
I think it's like 26 or something now.
yeah,
It's
you don't have a Pena to take Correa's spot. You don't have Kyle Tucker to take Springer's spot. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
And so now you have to do that because if you don't, then the future's just gone. And so I'm glad they did, honestly, and I'm glad he didn't go to the Yankees.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I think the deal. I think they do like the whole like. There's a Twitter account that like ranks or rates the trade, and they said it was a good trade on the Astros. It was a win for the Astros.
Yeah, they called it an overpay on the Cubs side.
Yeah,
so.
which I like that for sure. And supposedly the pitcher that we got has some filthy stuff.
Yeah, I
saw
saw
some
some
clips.
highlights. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did too. So yeah, so I think that's good. And then I think Isaac Paredes, I think he's going to be serviceable.
Yeah, first base.
wherever he ends up playing. Yeah, and so I think it's going to be. I mean, I think it benefits as far as staying competitive. See, like what I didn't like is that then they turn around and they're talking about trading for Arenado.
If they do that, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
and
out.
so
I'm off them.
So it doesn't make sense. Like I get you want to be competitive,
But don't do that.
but don't do that.
Do not
Yeah,
do that.
Don't get prospects into your system and then immediately send prospects out. Like I don't but honestly, like what do you even send for that guy?
I
Like
don't know.
what do you have? Like are you gonna flip prospects you just got?
You can't.
Like and that's what I mean. Like it doesn't make sense. So
Which it makes the Verlander trade even more frustrating.
oh I know.
You know what I mean?
You had
That's-
two top level prospects ready to come up and fill your outfield needs.
Yeah.
And instead you lose
The
out.
Kikuchi,
Yeah.
like that was a pointless trade as well.
Yep, exactly. Like both of those. Like,
Yeah.
Like you get there's no benefit that came out of getting those guys.
Nothing.
So
Very, very frustrating. But again, I think they'll be halfway competitive next year. I mean, they're not. They might not win the division, but they have a
But I
chance
think
for a
they
wild
can,
card.
dude.
They
Like,
can.
Like I think
The Mariners are going to be better.
kind of like what I was
The
talking
Rangers
about.
are going to be better. The Angels are going to be better.
I saw that the
A's.
Rangers were right there in the running for Max Fried up until the end.
Yeah,
Like I think that
that would have been scary.
where'd he go?
He went to the Yankees.
He went to the Yankees. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they offered him like 1 year and $5 million more or something like that, and that's why he ended up taking it. But I don't know. But I mean, I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, I think that the teams might be better, but I don't think those teams to be good.
I don't think the Astros are going to be either, though.
But that's what like kind of what I said in the group chat the other day. It's like I feel like between 85 and 90 wins will win the division next year.
Yeah.
Like I think that that's reasonable, and I think that the Astros can still be. I think the Astros pitching staff puts them in a position to still be competitive enough to where if they can generate some offense, that they can absolutely still win, 85 or so games.
Yeah.
But now, will they? I mean, I haven't seen their schedule and kind of how it stacks up, and then obviously injuries and everything else plays into that as well. But
Of course.
but I think that they definitely have the potential to.
Yeah. I think overall it was that you got to make that for the future. You got to make that trade.
Do you think they signed Bregman?
No.
I mean, I think that
I think if they're talking about going after Arenado, they're not.
man, it just like I keep seeing more and more links to the Yankees. Like, dude, oh my gosh, I would hate that so bad.
I mean, that would suck. But I mean, it's not like they didn't give him a competitive offer.
Well,
In my opinion, that's a good offer. That's a great offer.
156.
Yeah.
Well, I
thought they upped it to like 180.
I thought they had two, but I've never seen that.
Oh.
So I think that might have just been a rumor
To-
because they
yeah.
said like because everybody that talks about it, they say the 6 year 156
Yeah.
wasn't even close to what he wanted, and I haven't heard another number since then. So I don't know if they've been talking or because he's a Scott Boras guy, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So obviously that's a problem in itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man, but
But I'm not going to give him an 8 to 10 year contract. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's not in the best interest of my team.
I wonder if Bryce Williams could play that third base spot. That shortstop that they drafted a few years ago out of Nebraska.
I
Or
mean,
it
I'm
was
sure.
2 years ago.
I'm sure.
I mean, he was a first round pick.
I mean,
'Cause I was
Bregman's
thinking-
a shortstop playing third base.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you could either look at moving Bryce Williams over there, or you could even look at moving Pena to third base. You put Bryce Williams at shortstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have options. I mean, I don't know how Bryce Williams has been doing overall as far as hitting and everything.
No idea.
So,
No idea.
I think he had a pretty good spring training last year, but I don't know. We'll see, man. But I mean, it is kind of. I mean, I know we were definitely spoiled the last 7 to 8 years. I mean, I think even last year, I think it was kind of almost playing with house money. It felt like,
yeah, I agree.
but they still have good young pitching, and they still have the ability to do things. So, I mean, I think it'd still be a decent year to where they can still, like I said, still absolutely win the division. But now, will they? I don't know. But
you had to do that with Tucker. Like, if he wasn't staying, like,
yeah,
you cut your ties, man. You get what you can. Again, if he's just going to play for a year, like, is he gonna make that big of a difference on a team for a year? Like, is he gonna win you a World Series?
yeah, and that was my biggest argument too. It's like I don't think he put the Astros to the next level where he's going to make him a World Series contender.
He is an MVP caliber talent, no doubt.
Yeah,
But I mean,
I
you also have to prepare for the future.
I do wonder
If
what
he's
kind
not
of
gonna be there
attention he's
after.
going to get now too. 'Cause I felt like he didn't get a lot of attention in Houston.
No,
So now playing in Chicago, I wonder if he'll get a little boost in attention.
but dude, like, I don't know. Having season tickets to the Express whenever he was there, like it gave a little bit of insight. I don't think he wants attention, man. He seems like a low key guy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just mean like as far as like
MVP
highlighting, like giving him like the MVP.
Yeah.
Like I don't. He's never really, I don't think, gotten the attention he deserves.
No,
I mean, I know. I don't think he wants it.
but he's also been playing under the shadow of an Altuve and a Jordan.
yeah, no, absolutely.
So like
you know,
that's another aspect of the whole thing.
for sure. So he got us one championship at least. So.
Yeah, exactly.
To that we say thank you, Kyle Tucker.
Yes, thank you.
But I don't know, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's good, man.
think this was a good one.
I was thinking about doing the picks, like picking the playoff games and stuff, but since we're doing the bowl thing, probably shouldn't give
Yeah.
our picks away because it's a contest.
Yeah, for sure. Can't we can't be swaying people's picks with our expertise.
No. I'm going undefeated in this thing, dude.
That's right,
I'm 2-0.
absolutely.
We're just gonna keep it rolling.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I've already lost it.
Win
1-1.
another shirt.
Yeah. Oh man. But well, sounds good. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks for those that joined the bowl pick'em. I think we got about 8 to 10 teams, people in there. So we appreciate that. Should be a fun bowl season.
Also, on that caveat, you can still get in.
You can?
I believe you can still get in even though you missed the first few. You obviously don't get those first few points, but if you still can, try it. Try to get in. I'm pretty sure you can still enter. You just don't get to pick the first two.
Yeah, there's only been 2 games,
Yeah.
so you're not losing out on a lot. The next game will be on
Still have time.
Tuesday, so you can definitely still jump in and make your picks. Yeah, but thanks to those that have been joining in. Thanks to those that have been listening and contributing. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing. Tell your friends, tell your family. Just having a lot of fun, and we'll continue to do these every week. Hopefully, we'll have Will back next week,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll keep on rolling. Should be a lot of fun games. Make sure you tune in to bowl season. Premier League's going on. There's all Champions League, all the good stuff. It's all rolling. So NFL, lots of good things. We'll touch on NFL one of these days. So
When Will's here.
yeah, when Will's here, we'll touch on NHL one of these days. We got some guys we're trying to get on. But other than that, it's been fun.
One more thing to watch. Ganado Indians are playing in the state championship.
That's right, dude. Ganado Indians. So if you have Bali Sports, state championships for Texas start Wednesday, and Ganado will be playing on Thursday morning at 11 a.m.
Tune in.
I'll be there, so make sure that you're watching. So other than that, that's all I got. So we'll see you next week.
See ya.